Man, I see in chat that Chris is talking about soccer. Are you talking about soccer for real on my show, dude? I know you're I know you're betting on that stuff, but damn, man. Hey, good morning, all. Welcome to Coffee and Crabs. I got a weird framing thing with the camera. It looks like we got. Oh no, what happened? My camera arm moved on me, and now it's like weird. Whatever. Let's try that. All right. Hey, so let's chat a little bit. We have a lot of things to go over today. I apologize for my voice. I was at a concert last night, and so I'm not 100% for sure, between the ears ringing and the throat going and all that kind of stuff. But I have lots of things I want to go over with you today. Principally speaking, I want to talk about the daily paycheck stuff, and then I want to get into more talk about the unicorn. So without further ado, let's jump in and talk about the basic announcements. First of all, Friday Night Fights. Right now, by the way, if you're watching Jason, by the way, or Colonel Potter, let's confirm you guys right now today in Discord. I'll send a reminder out, but let me know that you're for sure in to do it. We'll have probably our last Friday Night Fight of the year tonight. Like I said, we may do a special one with Nemo to close the year out, have like a little crazy person special. With $1 million bets and all that kind of stuff. It'll be fun. I'll turn my white chips into markers or whatever. We'll have fun with that. But I want to thank and everybody in chat. Please give him a shout out. Thanks to Victor again. Everybody should give Victor a huge fist bump for giving us an hour of his time yesterday, which was fantastic. Having Victor on the show was awesome. Any chance I get to talk to anybody, we talked about this on Craps Chat the other night, right? About the craps community and how it's changed all of us, and we're making friends and connections and real things. And a lot of times you think you know somebody when you're in chat, right? And then you meet them in person, or you talk on the phone, or you do a show with them like I did yesterday, and you really get to see what somebody's all about. So that's kind of how I felt with Victor yesterday. I thought Victor was fun. We had a good time. Learned a little bit about the math, right? He talked about his chi-square testing, and the thing I found interesting about Victor was A, the depth of knowledge that he has, but B, here's a guy who relies on math. And you know this, right? From reading in chat, you know that Victor is a house edge guy, right? He likes the pass line with odds. He likes the free odds. He likes the 6 and 8 because they're low house edge bets. Typically speaking, those are bets made by people who are all in on the math, right? Those bets are made by people who normally don't give a shit about dice control. Like the pass line with odds bettors, Michael Shackelford, PJ Strong, and others. Our friend Greg at 555 on the other side, on the don't side, don't give a rip about dice control, and they don't give a rip typically about trends, right? They're purely the math of the game says this is how you play. Over time, you'll do this. And I put Victor in that camp because of the way he chats. However, you talk to Victor, and here's a guy who relies on math to make his betting decisions for the most part, but he's a trender. He's looking at variance. He's looking at dice influence and how dice influence changes his bets. He's actually doing math to analyze the table to make a decision versus more of a feel thing, which I found refreshing and different. I did not expect that. I expected Victor to be more math, and that's it. His first question was, do I believe in variance? I'm like, yeah, I believe in variance. He's like, well, let's talk about variance and how we can read variance with math. And I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty cool. So I know that a lot of that discussion yesterday goes over a lot of people's heads because it's very heady stuff. But at the end of the day, you've got this interesting I think it's like a third character in the play, right? You got, like I said, the pure Shackelford, PJ Strong, math guys. You got, Waylon's a math guy, but he's a math guy because of Bankroll. You got a lot of us who are like, hey, let's just try and beat this game. We're going to make a unicorn. We're going to beat the game, which is impossible. And then you got guys like Victor now who is like, hey, let's use math against the casino with some feel and some variance. I think that was pretty interesting, an interesting twist to the whole thing. And I really appreciate your time. And I think we'll have you on again for sure. It was awesome. And I think more of that. If you got something to add, let me know. We'll have you on. As you know, I want to get to more guests, and I don't want every guest to be a famous person, right? I think everybody's got something to add, so let's do it. All right, I see Brian has already confirmed that he's in for Friday Night Fights. We just got to find you a partner now. We make sure that your partner's in, so thank you for that. Thanks for confirming. Upcoming guests are going to be another math guy who's got a lot to say. a guy who I know very well. He's a math professor. So like me, he's a teacher. He likes to break things down. He's going to look at our rolls. He's going to do he's going to beat the crap out of us on the unicorn, which is good because the unicorn, I call it a unicorn because there's no such thing, right? We're not going to be able to beat the game. We're going to have fun trying, but we're not going to be able to beat the game. And I think that's going to be fun. So I also have a crazy man coming on too. I think you all know who I'm talking about. So we've got a couple of guests planned. I think we're going to have a good time with some of these future shows getting into next year. So there it is. There's your come out roll. And I want to now jump in and review where we got to this morning with the odds maker. I'm going to actually, do you mind if I try something real quick? I'm going to do something. I want to try the new camera out again. Let's go over here. Is it still delayed? Fuck, it's still delayed. All right. I changed a bunch of settings, and in the pregame, it seemed like it was going to be okay, but it's definitely got a 3-second delay to it. I don't know what's going on. There's got to be a setting somewhere. I'll go back to the other one. I thought I would try it out. There's a setting in there somewhere where it's causing lag. I got everything reduced down as best I could, but I wonder if my computer also just has low memory, or maybe it's the auto framing thing. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the daily paycheck this morning was good. We're 2-0 with the odds maker strategy, and I don't want to make it about the strategy, but I do want to show you some interesting stats here, okay? First of all, this strategy so far is 2-0. We've won $500 both days, about 38 rolls in that range. It's a grind. It takes 30 to 40 rolls to get there. Unless you get the miracle run, right? The hit the point and then 7 on the come out roll back to back, you're not going to win quick with this one. This is definitely a grinder, and you can see all those rolls we did, we were never down more than $500. Like, you're going to be here, right? And that's sort of how low house edge bets work. You're going to be kind of at the middle, up and down, up and down, up and down. You may trend down slowly, and you may trend up slowly, but you're not going to hit a lot of home runs with it. It's a good exercise in that. But I also think it's important for you to see this. And let me change screens real quick. And I know I was showing you this before, and I think it bears some repeating to see this. Let me get that out of the way. Hold on. And let's zoom in here a little bit. And it's interesting if you take a look at the winners, right? Let's look at the strategies that have won so far for us. I need to turn the camera off, I guess, on the screen. God, let's do that. There we go. Look at the ones that have won. And there's going to be some commonalities here, right? The come ladder's won. It's 4-0. The horseman's won. The odds maker is winning. The 3-point Johnny has won. So 4 out of the top 6 strategies are all come-based strategies. They're all pass line, don't pass, come, don't come, based they're rhythm strategies that are relying on the math part of the game to work. They're all winning. We've had a couple. The 3-30 surprise works. The squeeze play has worked. Those two worked. When they didn't work, they got whacked early. They got, 0.7 ounce. We'll take those two things out. The 3-30 surprise got beat the one time because I happened to knock off the lay bets so fast. But by and large, when you're shooting it, like the squeeze play, like the surprise, like you'll see when we get to the skill 66 and the tier pressure and the sister press, right? The bank street, the permanent press, the wedge, those all lost because they're looking for home runs. Those are strategies that are the right side better going, we're just going to hope we don't get a 7 and we're going to run our asses off and hope that it just works, right? And that's actually pretty hard to pull off, it turns out. It turns out that, let me get my screen back on. It turns out that it's hard to fight the 7. And when you make a strategy up that's like, hey, we're going to go 750 across and we're going to beat the 7 3 times and we're going to be just fine. Well, guess what? You don't beat the 7 3 times. And that's what happens when you get that's why these things lose versus the ones that are more combat odds. Those things are more going to be in here in the middle. You're not going to lose a ton. The opportunity's not there to turn a pass line with odds into table max bets. Right, the odds maker, not the odds maker, the tier pressure strategy, the 66 inside, those have potential to ride a 60 roller to table max and make $30,000 or $15,000 or $10,000. Where come bets with odds don't have that sort of high end potential unless you're jacking up everything with enormous flat bets as you go. So anyway, I think it's interesting. I think that I'm hopefully we're learning as you watch me do this what low house edge betting looks like versus high volatility betting. And there's a bigger ceiling and there's a more stable floor between the two betting styles. And I think it's important that we look at, in my opinion, the reason for doing the daily paycheck. And I really want to dig into this with you because it's important for us to come to terms with, I guess, the why I'm doing this. A, it's fun, right? But B, this is what life looks like as a pro gambler, right? You're putting strategies out there that are like, hey, let me go 160 across and then power press 18 times and win $1 million. That's the gambler strategy. That's going to Vegas or going to AC or going to Biloxi and once a month or once every 3 months and trying to hit big way of playing. The pro gambler grinds. Pro gamblers don't hit home runs. They grind. They're there like we're doing the daily paycheck to grind, $500 a day, $500 a day, go down $1,000, go back up. That's what we're doing, right? If you're going to be a pro, quote unquote, this is how you do it. It's an exercise in discipline. How many times have I gone down there and been like, okay, we're mid-roll. I'm at my $500 and I've said, I'm pulling the bets down. Now I've played them out just to let the dice roll for the hell of it. But the discipline says you got to pull those things down. If you're there for a paycheck, you got to get out. And it's discipline to get out. It's really hard to pull that off. It's really, really hard to go out there like Greg, I see Greg's in chat here, to go out there like Greg, $25 don't, $30 odds, and wait it out. At $200, you'll walk. That's a pro gambler's approach to this thing. And all the insanity of all the fun bets that we do with the unicorn, they're there for the high potential. They're the high ceiling bets, but the floor is deep. So that's why I do this. I think it's fun for us to look at what does it look like to be a quote unquote pro? What does it feel like to have that kind of discipline? And I got to talk us through it. I think the strategies all need longer trials. You can't have one 15-minute video where you win 3K on a great run and call it a great strategy. You've got to see it 5 days in a row. You got to see it ebb and flow. You got to see the where the holes are. And I will hit every hole, as you know. I think it's important. And I think that overall, the daily paycheck skills us up as bettors. Me specifically, right? We're talking about this in the Craps chat. Somebody asked the question in Craps chat, what advice do you have for a new bettor to manage your bets? And we started talking bankroll with this guy. But the question was, how do you manage your bets? Not so much your bankroll. This is the answer, right? The daily paycheck that I do, and it's kind of sucks that it's on Crapsy, honestly. Crapsy's great, but we talked about feeling chips, right? Like putting chips out, pulling chips back, knowing what chips you're going to see on the bets. If you run the same strategy every day for an hour, 5 days in a row, 10 days in a row, pushing chips back and forth, you're going to know what your bets are. You're going to know your press calls. You're going to know what's coming back. And it skills you up as a bettor overall, right? When we're trying to say things like, should I hedge the 7 when I'm coming into the DC when I'm on the pass line? Is that a smart bet to make? I think a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about, right? Newer bettors don't even know what I'm asking them. Doing a paycheck show like this or doing it on your own gives you the chance to do it yourself and see what happens. So I think the paycheck is an important thing. And I want to remind you of this fact. And I'm going to go to the table view real quick. I'm going to show you one thing really quick here. Let me turn the camera on back there. So I think it's important to remember the levels, okay? I'm playing it to simulate an actual paycheck, right? I'm doing 5K. And we're looking to win $500. And it's like, oh God, who's doing that besides Waylon and Vince? None of us is going to the casino with $5,000 every day of the week. Average bear can't afford that. But, and I said this to you before, I triple dog dare you to go to the casino with $100, right? And win me $5, right? Win $5 out of 100. Can you do that? Can you win 5%? Can you go with $100? A better example is win 10%. Go to the casino with $100 and win $10 and leave. I dare you to do it. John Patrick put this out in the video one time. And he said, none of you have the stones to do it. Go to the casino every day for a month. If you have one locally, every day for a month, buy in for 100, walk with 10. Can you do it 30 days in a row? If you can't do that 30 days in a row, not that you're able to, because your strategy is good, but do you have the balls to win one bet and get out of the casino? That's a professional gambler. And what I want you to realize is that the numbers that I'm playing with downstairs, or outside rather, 5,000 win 500, it's no different than this. $400 looking to win 50. $500 rather to win $50. Okay? Average person can walk in with $500. Can you walk out with 50 is the question, right? The daily paycheck, I'm doing it at big levels because I want to, A, have the flexibility of moving bets up and down easier, right? From a $5,000 bankroll, you can take a $500 chip down to $10. Here you don't have a lot of room to run, but the ratio is what I'm talking about. Do you have the balls to take 500, turn it into $50 and get out of there? It's no different than 5,000 to 500. It's the exact same ratio. Just did a little bit of division, removed a zero, and that's it, right? I challenge you. I mean, I challenge myself this too, right? Go to the casino, 30 days straight, $500, walk out of there with a $50 profit. Can you do it? Do you have what it takes to do that? And you may not even have the availability, but that's the question. And that's why I think the daily paycheck is so critical. To go through the exercise every day. My lights got weird. To go through the exercise every day and have the discipline to learn how to walk right at that time. To get up and walk out. Can Greg go to the casino with $500, put a $25 don't, $30 in odds, and the very first person sevens out and he wins $50, can he leave the casino? Right? Can you do it? Right? And it's not can you win the money, it's can you walk? The daily paycheck is that exercise. And it's for me, personally, it's the journey that I want to be on. I want to live on that journey. And I don't know that it's possible. Yeah, Greg, I knew you were going to say it. That's why I called you out. Of course you can, right? Greg, of course you can. Now, people will say, and I think there's a good argument to be made here, I have to drive 4 hours to a casino. I'm not doing it for $50. Well, then you're not a professional gambler. Right? If you're not in a position to be able to do it, then of course you can't do it. Then you're playing a different way for a different reason. That's why I put this out there. Anyway, I think it's a thing we should be talking about, honestly. So that said, let's get back to the unicorn. Let's get back to why we're here, which is the unicorn. Let me get you in here. We'll talk about where. Come on. There we go. What is the perfect crap strategy? We keep talking about it. Victor's got a stop loss. I don't have a stop loss. You know me, I don't have a stop loss because my buy-in is my stop loss. Now, and I'll say this to you again, and everybody should know this, right? If my stop loss is $500, if I'm willing to lose 500, I'm buying in for 500 because I think that and I've done this many, many times, you buy in for 500, you're down to your last 75 or $100 and you catch it and you get back up again. I want the money to do the work. I want the money to work for me. If I was only willing to lose 250, I may have 250 in my pocket and buy in for 250, but I'm still playing the full rack. And that's just, to me, it's a mental thing, playing the full rack. So there it is. And Dice Dr. Dan says, hey, here's some basic math for you. $50 a day for 30 days is $1,500 a month. Why can't your thing go up? There it goes. Come on. Dan. There it goes. That's a good comment there. Right? A little bit of basic math. That's good. That's food, right? That's if you're living in Vegas and you're 65 years old, that's your entertainment budget, right? You can totally do this, right? But you got to be able to do it. In terms of why can't I have multiple strategies? Of course, multiple strategies, right? And again, to me, one of the outcomes of the paycheck series is knowing which of the strategies are best in which situations. Like we're seeing. When the sevens are hot, which one works best? When whatever's hot, this one works best. I like to have multiples in my back pocket. I don't play the same way every day, but I think knowing which ones got thumped easily is the red flag. Like that permanent press, it seems like it's okay, but man, that thing got its ass kicked twice really badly. Like there's no way I'm bringing that one in Duracell unless I'm already up. If you're already up, that one's cool. But that's it. Anyway, the unicorn. Here's the unicorn, and I think that I set this up for failure, and I know that. But let's talk about the things. I want to be able to profit on the short rolls. And I think of the strategies that I play, the come ladder, the horseman, southern border strategy. Those things profit on the short rolls. They're designed for the 0, 1, or 2 box number rolls. They're made for that. But they do not dominate the monster roll. They're awful on a monster roll. They're on a monster roll. They get hurt sometimes because you can get hit around your numbers, but never your numbers get hit, and you can't pull them down. So the contract bet nature of those things makes them hard. It's hard to be out of the hand in 2 or 3 rolls with contract bet strategy because you can't pull back, right? The thing about the unicorn, we're oftentimes betting high and regressing backwards so we can be out of the hand. With the contract bet strategy, you're never out of the hand unless they all 3 hit, right? And that becomes hard to manage. And that's why I think those type of strategies aren't quote unquote unicorns, because you don't have the motion and you never have the sense that you're free and clear where the other strategies do. And that's a big part of it. So I think as we devise these ways of playing, I think those are the big targets I want in mind, right? I want continuous wins. I want a lot of collections. I want to win 90% of the time. All of those things are what I want. I want good scalability, but by and large, it's all about the first 3 rolls. These strategies that we're trying to figure out here is all about rolls 1, 2, and 3. And how do we make rolls 1, 2, and 3 not only safe, but profitable when something shitty happens to us, right? So let's go back again to that table and let's take a look at a couple of points this, and then I'm going to roll some out a little bit. Let me go to this view here first. Then I'll roll some out, and we'll have a little chance to look at a couple of these options that we've got. So first things first, let's look at rolls 1, 2, and 3. And why I think, and again, this is a personal thing, personal goal of mine, the way that I play this out. Let's say we catch a point of 5, okay? My personal goal is to get to the tier pressure strategy, okay? Your personal goal may be to get to 160 across. Your personal goal might be to get to 66 inside. It depends on what you're playing for. You got to work backwards from where you want to be. And if we take 66 inside, let's take a look let's do this here. 66 inside. We'll start with that, okay? Standard bet for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, right? If you're going to run a skill 66, that's great. If you're going to turn this into a 96 across, whatever you're going to do with this, this could even be a squeeze play, right? You could take a $21 hit, right, like so, and squeeze out, grab the 4 and 10, take another $21 hit on the inside, and drop yourselves down to 64 across and be okay. You can do that, right? That's a play you may want to make at some point. But the thing is, working backwards to this, what does it take to get to here in a couple of rolls? And I think if you're looking at quote unquote unicorning it, I think it starts with this, okay? Working backwards, a clean $75 don't. And a clean one, what I mean by that is this is out here and didn't cost you anything to get there, right? So 75 covers 66 with $9 change, okay? If a 7 comes on roll 1, you win $9. If a 7 comes on roll 2, let's say you've collected $21 and a 7 comes now, your net is going to be 21 plus 9 is $30. If a 7 comes on roll 3, again, it's going to be worth whatever, $30 minus 30 bucks and 21 is $51. As the roll goes on, the 7 becomes stronger. The hard part is getting this thing out for free. The hard part is getting a clean don't pass because you're fighting the 7 on the come out roll. And so there's been a lot of ways looked at how do you get this bet out cleanly. I had been hopping it, right? I've been looking at doing things like, $5 hops on the 7. These win 75 bucks, you lose 10, so you're basically out for $10 or whatever, right? On a 7. But the problem is, if you don't hit the 7 here, you lose the 15 bucks. Now you have what's effectively a $60 bet, right? By hopping on the way out, you deplete the effectiveness of that bet. And now it's 60 versus 66. You're actually upside down on an early 7. So it kind of gets out of the way of what we'd like to see a unicorn do. And at the higher levels, it's even worse, right? If you wanted to play like 550 inside, well, now you got to get 750 out here or 600 out here to make that work. And you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the coverage becomes nearly impossible to attain. And I think we're chasing our tails. I think the unicorn becomes an exercise in chasing your tail. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I was playing with this yesterday, and we can roll it out here a few times, but I know that it's going to fail. and we'll talk through some options. Let's set it up. Let's set up with a $600 don't. Here we're getting into like, stupid money. $600 on the don't. And I want to play this. I want to play 550 inside. Okay, 1, 2, 2. So it's 125, 150, 150, 125. Big money, right? The idea here is that this becomes 250. You're going to reduce this down by about half. Okay. Well, how do you get $600 out there for free, right? Because I'm tell you what, even if these bets are off with the puck, that scares the crap out. That's got to scare the crap out of you. That's $600. How do you get $600 out for free? Well, you don't, right? The only way to get that out is to hop the Reds for $50 each. Each of those wins $750, right? You got to hop the 11 too. You got to hop the yo along with. Now you got $200 out here to keep $600 safe. Yikes. Yikes. So you got to work backwards. Let's say we catch a point. Let's get one. There's a 6. Okay, right. Point is 6. Now, here's the problem. You're going to lose 200. Out on a point of 6, this bet goes away. So what you'll probably do is take that and spread it out. We'll take the 150. We'll go to the 4 and 10. Okay. Now you've got everything covered, which is great. You survived that, but you're down $200. I'll put the $200 here in front so you can see it. There's your loss. What happens next? Well, really, that bet right now is worth 600 or 400, not 600. So if the 7 comes right now, it looks like 600 covers 550, but it doesn't. This is 400 covering 550 because you lost 200. So do your math. And again, the part of the exercise of the unicorn dives is having everybody out there understand all the math that goes into this thing, right? This is a problem. You need to get a hit on the 5, 6, 8, or 9 to almost cover that. So you're going to burn a whole roll just to get yourself even. You still have this gaping problem, right? If I roll a 6, if I'm a good shooter and I repeat that 6, guess what? You're down $600. $800 is what you're down. That's no unicorn. Unicorn should be safe and profitable on the early 7s. The early 7 here gets you, but look at the hole we got. If I roll the dice again, let's roll the dice and see what happens. Well, we got lucky, we got an 8. That's actually a good case, right? We could catch an 8 for 175. Now, that almost makes up for this, right? 175 in profit almost covers the 200 you lost. I would even be okay with calling it a wash, okay? This washes that. If you also wedge down and pull the 4 and 10 down to where they're going to be at 250, like we did this morning, and you start working these things down towards where you want them, now you're in. Okay, there's my 200, so I can do the money laundering there, and the $200 is clean. I've got $75 to the good in my rack, and now I've got 600 against whatever's out here. Now that 7 becomes powerful. At this point, the 7's good. I got 1, 2, 300. $450. I got $600 here. Now a 7 wins me 150. Now we're in a good spot. But the 6 still takes $600 from you, which is brutal, right? Then you start thinking to yourself, well, what if we hop the easy 6s, or what if we hop the hard 6, or what if we grab the hard 6 for $100? And you start playing that game of chasing money around, and it becomes no longer a unicorn. It becomes a fucking nightmare. So we need to think about other ways to approach it. I'm going to roll this out as is, and we'll see how we do here. I think there's another 8. That's good. That's actually perfection. The 8 goes to 175, takes 175. 5 and 9 will come down. I'll make them look like $40 each. So I'm going to get back 20 and change. And look where we are. This particular run, it worked out perfect. Now, what I'd probably do here actually is we're essentially out, right? You've got your $75 that you, from the first hand, there's 200, 300, there's $420 out of your rack. If I pull the 8 down to $60 like it ought to be, check this out. If I pull the 8 down and make it look like 60, I'm at 250 across the levels. And at 1, 2, 3, 400, $510. And I paid for the thing. I'm out of the hand. right? You can use the storm / wedge. Like the storm pulls the bets all the way down. The wedge with the don't brings them down to where they want to be. And now we're in a good spot, right? And I could probably take the 450 and bet the 6, right? Place the 6, spigot off the don't pass. I got 60 bucks in after all that risk, right? After all that freaking risk, I got 60 bucks in the rack, right? But the 6 is a guaranteed profit for me. The 6 guarantees me money. The 7 guarantees me money. This wins 60 bucks. What is 450 on the 6? I forget what 450 pays, but it goes, I think it pays 520 or what, it doesn't matter. This is a profit center. That's a profit center. You're solid, right? There's a way that it could work. But man, that's a big hole. It's a big hole, and the reward for that hole is 60 bucks and the opportunity to keep playing. That feels like it's like we were fighting City Hall there, right? So, not that I have an answer, but I think that right there, my friends, is not the answer. I don't think that having enormous freaking don'ts is the answer. I'll tell you this too, a $100 don't, which I think most of us are probably okay with doing, with max odds on it, is also not the answer. You still have the huge hole. You can back off the odds as you go, which is nice. But at the points of 10, that's only potentially 400 bucks in winnings. I would do this and not hedge. I would do that and not hedge the 7, so that's a clean 100. But even that, if the point's 10, you're gonna win 300 and 1 is 400. If you have 550 out here, it's not enough money. You're not closing off any holes. The 7 becomes not a profit center for you until roll 2. So I think we need to revisit the whole thing. I think, it could be something along these lines. And I'm going to think out loud here with you, because I think that's a good system. But getting to tier pressure is tough. I think we need to think about something along these lines. And what if it looked a little bit like this? What if we did something like, I'll do 66 inside. Matter of fact, we'll do just the inside bets. We'll keep it just 66 inside, okay? 100 on the don't, and let's do a little horseman. Let's evaluate our risk. Okay, let's catch a point first. Let's first catch a point. It's 5. The point is not that material, but let's take the 5 and make it a 10. It doesn't really matter. Now I've got 4 bets out here that are worth 66 bucks. I've got $100 on the don't, that was clean, and 25 bucks. 125 versus 66. To me, feels like 76, 86, 96, 106. It's about $49 thereabouts, right? On a 7 right now. So the 7 works for you on roll 1. Let's get a roll. There's a 6. Now, what ends up happening here is this. The 6 can come down and get paid $21, which means I've got $25, $35, $39, and a come bet that goes to the 6. Now, you could say that's the equivalent of having a $25 or $30 6, place 6. Check it out. This 25 that I have becomes my next come bet, and I can bring the 14 bucks back to my rack, or I can start taking a little bit of odds with it, right? Taking some of that, making it like a press. But effectively, my second comeback got paid for by the first win. If we look at the 7 right now, let's take a look at where we would be. We'd have 14 bucks in our rack, right? So if the 7 comes, it's still 125 on the win. We have 14 bucks in the rack in profit already. So you got to count that, right? It's 125, 135, 139 comes in total on a 7. What I have out here in risk now is 15, 30, 45, 48, and 25. So 60, whatever that, $68. But again, that bet right there is halfway covered, right? The next bet coming through is covered by that. So we come in again, and there's your 7 that you profited on the whole way through. We're never in trouble. I think if you start with this and the level's right, if it's 4 to 1 And that is 2 times what you have out here. And these come in and replace things as they go. Let's pretend, let's roll for a minute. Let's just get some numbers out here. There's another, well, I want to get different numbers. I want to see how it plays out. Come on, roll anything that's in the box, John. There's an 8. Let's assume the same thing happens. We go to the 8. It gets paid 21. I want to get a look here, trials-wise. There's 14 bucks. There's a quarter for the next one. Let's see what happens on if 3 numbers get set, how we look. There's a 4. All right, now you're across. Okay, out of your rack came $100 and the first 25 bucks. Everything else, these 2 come bets got paid for by wins. So the out of your rack money is 125. In your rack, there's 20, there's 25. Okay. That's pretty cool. You're out here set up. And if the 7 comes now, the worst thing that happens, if a 7 comes even at this moment here, you'd win 100. How would we look? We'd have 100 bucks. That would cover the 66 plus 1 come bet. That's interesting. Let me actually, let's push this out. Let's do, again, I'm thinking out here kind of in real time with you. There's 6. I'm going to make this 100 look like greens, or make it look like, yeah, we'll make it look greens. So 100 plus 50, 60, 6. There's $100. There's 66. There's the 1 come bet that you need to get the whole thing started. And you're $35 in profit. And if the 7 comes after you're all the way set, you're still showing profit. And you're technically able to play in here, right? I would play these things out like tier pressure. I would take the 4, put it down here, stack it up. I would do the same things. But here on roll 3, you're kind of set. I think that the unicorn needs to not be these enormous holes. I think we need to find a way to utilize winning bets to pay for the next bets. Keep the 7 strong early. The only thing really that's the problem here is that first roll. You know, and then once the first roll happens, staying off the point. Of course, with the don't, staying off the point is always going to be your thing. But I wonder if the horseman, along with some preset place bets, might be the entry point into this thing, because it does give us a little bit of freedom. So let's roll it out. I'm going to roll that exact scenario out a couple of times. And let's just see how we do. I'm going to take these back. And so a quick trial run. And again, I'm just thinking out loud, because I don't like having these gaping, not just gaping holes, but holes that, you know, if I lost 600 bucks on the point being hit, I'd be crushed. Like my soul would be crushed. All right, let's come out clean down there. Run the risk, right? But there's a 6. There's the 6. We'll make it look like, I don't care, 4. We'll take back $3. Let's get 1 come bet coming and see if we can make this come bet work with the numbers that are out there to pay for itself. There's an 8. So this 8 pays 21. 21 bucks. It comes down. I'm sorry, that's the 8, not the 9. The 8 comes down and pays 21 bucks. It goes in there. We could put 10 and odds on it. And now we've got, I'll make that look like a nickel. There's a quarter. In our rack is $7 because the quarter comes back through as the next come bet. You had a fun 100 plus 1 come bet. Hopefully it hits other things. There's the 6. That's a bad case, but let's play it out. This goes to the 6. We lose our don't. Again, those holes, can't fill all the holes, but now you got a contract bet working for you. Question is, do you come back out? I do. I still think that we're in a mode where we need the strength to make it work. I'm going to beat myself every time, right? There's another 11. Don't let a shooter beat you twice. Well, I'm going to let him go 3 times. There's a 10. Perfect. Goes to the 10. We're here. Now our problem is this. We're down $200 from the don't. We have a quarter of our own money out here. I got to put a new quarter in. So now we're into this thing for 225. So this is not working out great. There's a 6. That's fine. That's off and on. Goes to the rack. There's an 8. So that's cool. This is going to be basically off and on. So we're going to win. $25 flat, 12 on the odds. That all comes down. That goes to the 8. We drop the next quarter in. We're going to, I'll again do 10 here. I can do 10 here on the 6. My rack now has 55, 59 bucks plus the third and final bet coming through. 7 out. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to lose all this up in here. We'll do a quick rack check and see how did that play out for us. 25 there and 100 here. So again, we lost 200. So one of those covers that, right? That's going to be okay. That comes back to the rack. We can take these 4 green chips and cover the other 100 that we lost. And in our rack, we have another 100. So we're basically down our 66 bucks. There's 6, so we're down 60 plus the $25 comeback. So we ground through that. I don't know if it's perfect, but if you get them all 4 or 5 set, you're safe to run, I guess. I don't know. Unicorn is no such damn thing. There's no such thing as a unicorn, and we're going to be chasing our tails for a while. But I think it's fun to think this through. I don't know. I think about this. It keeps me up at night, folks. It keeps me up at night trying to run through this, and I wonder if this. And let me put this out here to you. I'm going to arrow down to the chats here because I want to see it. Yeah, the elephant graveyard always strikes, Greg. It always gets you. Even with come bets out there, it'll get you. But look at how we got to relative safety pretty quick, right? And I think that's the thing, right? You get to relative safety in kind of a quick mode. The thing is, the unicorn where I want to be is here. I want to have, for my levels, I want to be at 250, right? I want to play 250 across in the worst way, and I want to do that from a position of safety, you know? And that means having this. That means having a $300 don't. And that means having a hole, right? To get to this, you need to have a big hole. How do you get to that? Let's set up a different set of bets. Let's do this. Let's do 330 inside. Let's just pretend we have a different point. Let's go to a point of like 10. Even here, to get the 250 inside, look at this. You're going to get 105 on hit 1, 105 on hit 2, and you're still not to 250, right? You're still, wrong chip. You're still not there. It takes 3 hits to get to where you can play this freely. You got to survive that point 3 times, even with a clean, huge ass bet. You got to beat the 7 here and beat that. So you got to beat 16% chance here. You got to beat this 8% 3 times in a row. That's where I get squirrely with this stuff. You know, options, lay the 10 and the 9, right? Who cares what the point is, right? The point's for you. Lay the 10 and the 9. Maybe you take the 9 and just take it off, right? Lay 2 random numbers aside from that. Or with the point of 4, add odds and just lay the 10. Like, you're going to end up having so much money out here that a loss becomes irrecoverable. And that's the problem. So I'm open to more thinking on this thing. I think we can hedge ourselves into oblivion and never get there. And so what I wonder is it better to find the best right side strategy and just let math be math? In other words, if this is your way to play, and I'll just set it up, I'll just do 160 because it's easy. If 160 is your way to play, is that better? right? 160 with, you know, a little bit of a lot of a hedge down here, and have the hole. Is that better? Or better to just do that and let 160 burn up to 10 times and hope that you're gonna, like, this is the right side conundrum, right? Is it better to just let your bets sit out there and let the 7 take them every so often? Or do you need to fight down in here? Do you need to have a hedge down there and play this hybrid style until you're even? And I don't know the answer to that because, again, I don't like even this. Even at 160, I don't like having that. I don't like it. Let's play it out. Let's actually have a $200 don't. No point. Point's 8. Do you like this? You like being here where you got, you know, whatever that is, 160 minus 30, you're at 130 across, $200 on the don't, and the 8, you're fighting the 8 now for 3 rolls? Like, because you got to make this up. You got to make enough money up in here to make that not matter. And that's hard. It's hard. It's hard to get yourself there. You know, that's the thing. It's very, very, it's difficult. There's $50. Stack it up. It's hard to get these to survive the point during your play. There's a 9. That's great. 9 pays 35. We'll go right to 60 with it. That's 2 hits. We're gonna do it. This time it's gonna work. Right? Elephant Graveyard at its best. You got 3 pressed bets, one more to glory. And today we survive. Today we survived, right? There's your at 250 across. Now here, what did you make on that roll? Is it enough to cover your don't? I bet not. There's 100. 25, 155. Even with 3 or 4 great hits, you still didn't cover the action down here on the 8. That's why this is so hard to do. I think unless you pull this down, now that you got your 160 back, you pull this down and you can play clean, but that feels like kind of a dick move too, right? So anyway, the unicorn's hard. That's why I put it out there, because it's probably, let's go back to the screen here. It's probably the unsolvable problem. That's the wrong screen. Get out of my way. It's probably the unsolvable problem. If you look at the criteria that I put out here, right? Profit on a short roll, dominate a monster roll, get out of the hand and roll 2 or 3, collect all the time, win 90% of the time. Those are hard goals that I've set forth for us to hit. So far, we can get there for the most part, but you're going to have the big hole. You know, a $600 don't bet on a point, man, that's a bitch, right? That's a bitch to get through. So that's why I say the unicorn is maybe unattainable, but fun to talk about. So what I'm gonna do, I think Skill and Luck has some ideas. I might call you out right now, Skill, and see if maybe tomorrow or the next day you wanna come on with me, let's talk through it together. And if anybody else, I'm looking at you, Greg, wanna come on and talk through it with me, let's talk through it, because I think we've been through all of the answers, right? But again, you have those big holes, right? Let me just do this again. I have to ask the question because I think this is so critical. This is so freaking critical, it's not even funny. What's better? What's better? Being off the don't altogether, right? Not having anything. 160 across naked. Is that better or is this better? And there's the ultimate question. This is the hybrid player will tell you there is no question what's better, right? Either you're at risk for $200 against the 6 or the 5 or the 4, or you're at risk to the 7. And what's better? The hybrid player is not at no risk. Hybrid doesn't mean you have no risk. It doesn't mean you're fully hedged. You have a hole, right? You got a big don't against a good number a lot of times. That's an unfortunate reality of the hybrid. Is this hole better than that hole? That's the question of the unicorn. And you can't fill them both. You can't fill both holes. You can hop in here, right? 0.7 or 0.6, you can hop a little bit, right? But hopping enough to cover 200 bucks is going to cost you your profits, right? You hop them for 10 bucks each. The easy sixes for 10 bucks, right? That's $20 in hops. Saves you except for the hard six. But if something else wins, you lose 20, you win 35, and you basically might as well be playing the Iron Cross, right? Winning 15 bucks a hand is stupid too. So that's why the question is, right? You're going to have a hole. You want the hole on the point? You want the hole to be the 7. You know, Jacob will tell you, I want the hole to be the 7. I'm taking the 7 away from the casinos is the Jacob philosophy. And to a large degree, that makes sense. That's the hybrid thinking, right? So there it is. And yeah, the squeeze play is great. I love this. I like the squeeze play that goes into something else. Like I use the squeeze play to get to my 250. It's great. But again, you got that hole, right? The squeeze play is the 7 takes all your money. So that's it. Skill. I can't reread the chat, dude. There's like 100 chats out there. I think you and I should talk later on, and I'll have you on. We'll just do it live. That's probably the best way to get through it. There's a lot here. And Victor says, how about a don't come, which I do that quite a bit, actually. I don't know. Let's see. Let's look at some other stuff here. I'm going to go through the chats and make sure I haven't missed anything major. Let's see. Yeah, which goal am I willing to sacrifice to make unicorn work? I don't know. Like, that's the thing. What I want to get to, I want to play 250 across. I want my tier pressure at 250 across to be clean. And I know that squeeze play gets me there. Squeeze play gets me to my 250 like that all day long. It's great. The problem with squeeze play is that you got 330 or 220 at risk for those first 2 rolls, and it's hard. It's really hard. So, yeah. All right, I think that's all I have time for. It's 9 o'clock. I do have important stuff to do at work today. So you guys are awesome. Let's see. I'm looking at a bunch. It's so hard to read the chat because I can't tell what's being replied to with what. So I'll review it later on. But I think skill and luck. You and I should have a live session tomorrow if you'd like, and do it. Jacob is correct, right? You are taking the 7 away. However, it's a big hole, right? You got to beat the come out with 200 bucks to take the 7 away, and you're giving them the 7 for the come out roll, right? Does that make sense? I think that's the problem. You're giving them the 7 on the come out to get the 7 later, and that's why these things become nearly impossible. So it is fun to search for the answers, but the answer may be elusive, right, Jay? All right, thanks all. Let's get out of here. I got to get to work. Have a good day. Tomorrow morning paycheck, we'll do it again. We're going to do the odds maker one more time. Maybe I'll have skill tomorrow with me. We'll just kind of chat through it one-on-one, and not a battle, but just like a chat. Just want to like Chris and I just want to reason it out with another live human. So that said, I'll see you in the morning, everybody. Have a great afternoon. That's it. Happy Tuesday. Bye, all.